and it just was not good. I don't know if anybody was in there, but that's not what we're doing.
Yeah, that was horrible, bro.
But dude, people are just like, I don't know. What's wrong with people, man? And it just was not good. Alrighty. YouTube, what's going on, man? I don't know why you're not in this Zoom right now. If you're not in the Zoom, we're actually on Zoom hanging out. We're like going over sales training and all the stuff. But if you're not in the Zoom, I need you to go to joinblueprintrei.com. And then you'll get a link. You'll get into the free Facebook group and you'll start getting text messages and emails with the Zoom information. Because every Thursday, we host a free Zoom at 5 p.m. Eastern time, and you should be on here where I can answer your call, answer your questions, hop on phone calls with your sellers, and we could chat. So, but what we're doing here today is we're going to break down how to get better at talking to sellers. I've come up with 6 things that you can go take action on to get better at talking to sellers. Okay. So the top 6 things in order to get better at sales. Number 1, get a coach. Number 2, practice. Number 3, do the thing. Number 4, squat up with people while you are calling people. Number 5, record yourself. And number 6, be a student. So I'm going to break these things down. Okay. First things first, you're going to want a coach to teach you what sales is all about. Okay. There's before everybody got in here, me and Brendan were talking about just how freaking how he's like light years ahead of where he was a year ago, and just how he's just leveled up, leveled up, leveled up. Okay. So a good sales coach is going to give you a roadmap on how to go get better. It's going to start off with training wheels. Okay. You're going to learn a process. You're going to learn the information that you need to go get on every single call, right? That's why in Blueprint, we have the 8-step sales process. It's pretty much a format and a structure to go use for your calls. It's not a script. We're not like robots calling off of a script and, using the same exact line for every single seller call. No, we're humans. We're having conversations with people, but the 8-step sales process is pretty much a roadmap for you. You have 8 buckets that you have to fill. Now there's certain types of questions and certain one-liners and stuff that you can use in all these buckets, but it's simply a structure, right? So that one of the biggest things that I get, right, from people that learn the 8-step sales process for the first time is they're like, oh my gosh, I now know where every single lead in my CRM stand. Like, I know what to go do with them. I know the rest of the information that I need to go get. I know how to go follow up. I know, there's 4 buckets that are missing, and simply it's just not the seller's time yet. And I got to follow up this way in order to fill up the buckets, right? Like, that's the biggest thing that I get from the 8-step sales process. So, um, that's like the first step of understanding sales. Because think about this: if you have no framework on how to go talk to sellers, you're just simply going to get on the phone and you're going to be talking gibberish. Like, it does, like you're not going to know where to start. You're not going to know the questions to ask. You're not even going to know the information that you need. Could you imagine? Put it this way: this would be like this. I am the worst at grocery shopping. Okay. If my wife tells me to go grocery shopping and she does not give me a list, I'm screwed. Like, just absolutely screwed. It's even actually, if she gives me a list and she only verbally gives me the list, then I'm definitely screwed, because she's going to verbally give me the list and it's going to go right over my head. I'm going to miss the eggs, the milk, all the things, right? So whenever she sends me out grocery shopping, she has to give me a specific list. Like, hey, you need to get all these things. And I'm literally just sitting there like scratching them off. But could you imagine if my wife just told me, "Hey, Mike, we got no food in the house. Can you go grocery shopping?" and just left it at that? I'd be screwed. Like, would have she would be mad at me, right? I'd get home and I wouldn't have the right types of food. And it's the same thing talking to sellers, right? If you have no framework, if you have no instructions on what you got to go get, how the heck are you going to know what to go ask? How are you going to know what to go buy in the grocery store? Okay. Um, so you need to be taught a framework, right? You need to be taught a specific structure, or else this is what happens. if you don't have a structure of your own, guess what? Us as human beings, this is what we talked about last week. We have our internal structure already that we use as prospects, right? As clients. We automatically have these smoke screens that we put up right away. We automatically have all these things that we do when a salesperson comes to us, just naturally. So if you don't have a process of your own, then you're going to fall victim to the seller's process. Okay. And you're simply just not going to know what to get. You're not going to be able to fulfill the order if you don't have the instructions on what you need to fulfill. So that's what a coach is going to do for you. But also a coach is going to show you the levels, right? Like that's just like the foundation. And even a foundation in that foundation is what me and Brendan were talking about earlier. You got to understand, you got to get good at information gathering, right? Before you ever even get to step number 7 and 8 on the 8-step sales process, you got to know how to information gather. You got to know how to ask the right questions, when to ask them, why to ask them, how to ask them, right? So there's even a foundation before you build out the structure. So essentially, like for Brendan, right? He goes from being a really good information gatherer. He starts going through the 8-step sales process. I'm giving him, bits and pieces on what to go say on the next call so that he can fill up steps number 5 through 8 and stuff like that. Now, all of a sudden, he's leveling up to knowing his own, like to being a closer of his own, to communicating effectively with people on his own. He already has this structure kind of internally in his mind, and he's taking his training wheels off, and now he's just like going out and making it happen on his own, right? So there's levels to it, and you need a coach to kind of show you like, hey, here's the levels, bro. Here's what level that you're at. Here's where you're going. Here's what you need to do. That's what a coach is going to do for you, along with holding you accountable and making sure that you know exactly what it is that you need to do. So that's what having a sales coach is all about. Number 2, practice. This is role playing. Simply that. Every single morning. Actually, the Blueprint members haven't even been taking full advantage of this. Every single morning, me, Brendan, and Felipe. Felipe is the other acquisition manager on my team. We have about an hour, or maybe sometimes it even goes a little bit over that, about an hour of role plays, right? I pretend to be a seller. Brendan pretends to be the buyer, vice versa. Felipe does the same thing. And we're role playing out situations that we're about to go get into during the day. Like, for example, today, Felipe had to give an offer to a seller that was kind of red, and he had a certain personality type, right? And it took a certain way to talk to that person. So I walked Felipe through how to go talk to this type of person, how to go give him the offer, how it should look. And we role played that specific situation. Now today he went out and made that call, and now he's like pushing the ball forward with that seller. So we're role playing real live situations. Sometimes I'll just take a lead out of my system and pretend to be that lead. And that's what you need to do in order to like get ready for the day. For me, when I first started, I was doing a role play every single morning. For those of you that are in the sub 2 mentorship, Pace Morby has something that is called the Daily Dial within sub 2. And this is like a 2-hour Zoom where you can do role plays, where I can pretend to be a seller, somebody else pretends to be the buyer, vice versa, and everybody else is just giving feedback. There's one coach on the call that's giving feedback, and it's just really, really good. I did that for a good, like, maybe 6 months straight. Brennan says, Mike, grocery list. My wife and I use the Note app. Oh, that's great. That is great. Yeah, she'll typically just send me a text. But the Note app is cool because I could just cross things out. Love it. So every single morning in the sub 2 mentorship, when I started talking to sellers like 3-4 years ago, I would hop in the Daily Dial and I would just get on calls, right? I would just get on role plays. I would get feedback from the coaches that were in there. I would just keep on hammering away. And all of a sudden things started shifting, because in the beginning, I'm not going to lie, I was shy. I'm like, dude, I don't want to be, doing a role play in front of a bunch of people. Like there's like 50 people on that Zoom. I'm like, I want nothing to do with this. But I forced myself to do it. And then over time, I started getting excited to do it because I started getting better. I started getting better at talking to sellers. And now I'm like, this is gonna be cool. Because now I'm gonna be able to show people that like I've been building this skill, right? I'm gonna be able to show off my skill set, which is pretty cool. So you're gonna want to do role plays, okay? And that gets you prepped for the day, and it just gets you better in general. Next thing, you're gonna want to do the thing. Okay. You're gonna want to get in here and actually call real motivated sellers. Now, some people aren't generating leads, no problem. Some people are generating leads, no problem. Leads should not be an issue for you. If you have a lead issue, like let's just say, like there's so many things that, so many places that a person could be at in their life, right? And this isn't a lead generation Zoom, so I'm not going to go over that. I've already done a bunch of those. But you got to figure out where you're at, right? Like if you have access to a decent amount of money and you feel comfortable and your risk tolerance is cool, just go out and hire a VA to generate you leads. It costs $1,000 a month. Like it's not the worst case scenario. I bet if I went into your bank account, right, and I looked at all the subscriptions that you have, I bet I could probably find somewhere around $1,000 of just these subscriptions that you don't use. There's probably a gym membership on there that you don't use, right? There's all these things that you've got going on that you probably don't use. Like not to say that $1,000 a month isn't, expensive, because to some people it is, but at the end of the day, I guarantee that you could be doing things, saving money somewhere, or making a little extra bucks here, or maybe working overtime here, or getting this little side hustle to pay $1,000 a month to have leads to work on. So leads should never be an issue. Now, maybe you're like, Mike, I have no appetite to have a risk tolerance to pay for leads, like whatever. Dude, go hop on somebody's team. Call me. Like, I'll give you freaking leads to talk to. Like there are ways to go talk to motivated sellers. Go door knock people if you have to. Go cold call your dang self if you have to. I don't think that you should do that. However, if that's what you think you need to go do at the moment, then go ahead and do it. But you have to be going out and taking action. I've been on literally thousands, tens of thousands, if not, let's see. If I've been, let's say on average, I've talked to, let's see here. Actually, I've been doing this business for about 4 years. Okay. Times that, let's call it, if I talk to, what is it? 365 days in a year. That's 1,400 days. Let's say on average, I, have talked to even just 10 sellers a day. I'm over like tens of thousands of sellers that I've probably talked to at this time in my life, which is bananas, right? Like tens of thousands of sellers. And like I'm working with a guy right now, a wholesaler, that I'm just like coaching him up and helping him out with things. And he's getting frustrated because he hears my calls and he's like, bro, I just want to I want to be able to do that. It just doesn't make sense. Like, how do you flow so naturally? How are you able to just do this without even thinking about it? I'm like, bro, I did not start here. Like, I've made thousands of calls. I've gotten cursed out at thousands of times. Like, you got to just go put in the work, man. And this guy, right? Like, he's been generating leads for the past maybe couple months, has a couple hundred leads in his pipeline already, and he's closed a couple deals, right? And he's still like, yeah, this isn't quick enough. I'm like, bro, trust me, you gotta be patient. It's coming. You're not even seeing it, but you're getting just 1% better every single day. And over the course of 4 years, that 1% better becomes 400%. Like, that's a lot. I'm 400% better than I was 4 years ago. That's crazy. Actually, no, that's more than that. There's 365 days in a year. I'm like 12,000% better than I was 4 years ago. That's bananas. So like, just keep on doing the thing, but you have to go out and you have to talk to motivated sellers. Hence the reason why we are doing this thing on Saturdays. So if you just came into the Zoom once a month on a Saturday. We haven't picked the exact day yet, but in my office, we're going to be making live calls. Like I'm giving you guys leads to call. And we're doing that once a month in Zoom as well. This is what this weekly call is about, right? We're doing a 4-week challenge every single month where I'm doing sales training. I'm calling sellers. You guys are calling sellers. I'm going to provide the leads for you guys to call, right? So like you got to go out and you got to do the thing. Can I get some feedback on this? Because I feel like here's what's going to happen, and I don't want this to happen. I don't want 2 weeks to come by and we host this Zoom where you guys are supposed to be calling sellers and everybody's being chickens and nobody calls sellers. Nobody raised their hands to call sellers, and it ends up just being Mike calling sellers. I don't want that to happen. Matter of fact, if that happens, I'm gonna stop the Zoom and I'll catch y'all on the next Zoom the week after that. Okay. So I want you guys genuinely, I don't want you to just throw one in the chat just to do it. Throw one in the chat if you would make a call on the Zoom in the next couple of weeks. Alondra, let's go. All right. All right. Listen, we got some gangsters in the house. We got some gangsters in the house. All right. I'm gonna hold y'all to it. Hey, listen, I'm gonna hold y'all to it. I'm gonna remember this. I might even take a screenshot of this. Okay. I'm literally right now taking a screenshot. Boom. You guys ain't getting out of it. Love it. Cool stuff. Yeah, no, it's like you have to go do it. How would Tom Brady ever get better at football if he never went out and played a game? He simply would never get better. Like he would stink. Actually, dude, I am watching.
I knew you were going to say Tom Brady. I knew you were going to say Tom Brady.
You know, Tom Brady's my guy, bro.
Dude, I was going to say I didn't want to interrupt but that's it. Like to your point before, Tom Brady reaches the point where he makes it look easy. You speak to 20,000 sellers, you make it look easy. It's not easy until you get enough of that, you know?
Yeah, dude, you got to put in the work, man. You got to put in the reps. But like I'm watching Tom Brady's like my favorite, by the way. Like when Tom Brady left the Patriots, I wasn't even a Patriot fan anymore. I'm like, dude, I'm a Tom Brady fan. I'm a Buck fan. Actually, the year that he went to the Buccaneers, I bought season tickets to the Buccaneers. I live thousands of miles away from Florida. I never went to Florida that year at all. But like, so I'm a Tom Brady fan at the end of the day. However, what is it? Apple TV came out with this series called The Dynasty. So good. It's on the Patriots. It's like, you know, just where they started at and everything. And in the beginning, they're showing like Brady struggling in these first few games, like the first few seasons. It was not actually, matter of fact, I remember there in the first episode, they're talking about the first game that Brady had. They wouldn't even let him throw the ball. Like they made all the plays were runs because they didn't trust him. Because remember, Bledsoe got hurt, right? So Bledsoe gets hurt. Brady has to come in, and he's like this scrawny guy that was picked in the 6th round that like they just had no faith in. Everybody had no faith in him. Then all of a sudden he plays one game, then he plays another game, then he keeps on playing games. By the end of the season, Bill Belichick was like, "Hey, I know Bledsoe's on his way back. You know, he just came back from an injury. However, I kind of have more faith in Tom Brady. He's been with us this whole entire year, and he keeps Tom Brady in the game. And he doesn't start Drew Bledsoe. And Tom Brady just keeps on playing games, keeps on playing games. Fast forward like 20 years later, homeboy has won like the most games out of anybody. And now to Brennan's point, he could play that game without even thinking about it in his drawers, in his sleep. Okay. But it's because he's played all those games. Like you got to get out and you got to get on the field. So that's the thing. That's what we're doing here. So in a couple weeks, you guys will be calling sellers. I'm going to be providing you guys the leads. You guys are going to have your phone up. So a couple of things are going to need to happen. You guys are going to have to take your cameras off. So are you boneheads that are up here with your cameras off? If you are going to call a seller, you're going to need to have your camera off. You're going to have your iPhone or whatever phone, maybe your Android, your smartphone, or maybe your dumb phone. Okay. You're gonna have to have it up to your mic and you'll be calling the seller. I'm gonna send you over a address, a phone number, and a name. And we're gonna take action. And like I said, if any of these things come to life, okay. If any of these leads come to life, you guys push the ball forward. I'm here to help you keep pushing the ball forward, and we will JV on the deal. How cool would that be? How cool would that be out of these Zooms if somebody gets their first deal? Actually, when somebody gets their first deal, I should say, how cool is it going to be? Because I foresee that it's super good, super good. Love it, love it, love it. Now, that kind of rolls into number 4. Number 4 is having battle buddies. Like doing this business alone is so freaking boring. I've never done it. Right. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, I'll come in here and I'll bang some calls out while my team is like out doing things or something like that. But like, I hate making calls on my own. I love to do it with people. I love to be on a Zoom like this calling sellers. I love to be just with people calling sellers. In the beginning, right? I told you guys I would take the first hour of my day and do a role play. Right after that, I would get into all my follow-ups. But I wouldn't just be sitting. By the way, this is before I ever had an office or anything. So I'm literally like in my pajamas, right, in this little corner of my apartment making calls. But I was not doing it alone. I would hop on a Zoom right after we got out of role plays. About me and 2 other guys would hop in a Zoom, and I would call a seller, and then they would call a seller. I would call a seller, then they would call a seller, and we'd go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'll never forget their name. My guy freaking Rogerio and my guy, Spanish guy. Oh gosh, I forget his name. I forget that other guy's name. And my guy Bryant. Like it would just be us just banging the phones, doing the things, just all getting better. I would screw up a call, they would laugh, they would tell me I could have done this better, I could have done that better, and it was just us just all getting better together. So if you're not on a team and you don't have like a team environment and you're not making calls with people, I highly suggest making friends. Make friends in Blueprint, make friends in the Facebook group, make friends in the Discord, like be doing the business together so that it's easier. It's so much dude, put it this way. I would rather sit here and get cursed out over the phone while on a Zoom with you guys than if I was just hanging out alone. It's no fun. What fun is it getting cursed out by myself if nobody can see it? I feel like there's no point in that. So, but here's what it takes. You don't just go out and build relationships with people out of nowhere. You have to be putting yourself out there. And this is just a life lesson. Like if you're not putting yourself out there, if you're not out here, like look at my screen, right? I have my YouTube channel down here. I got my brand right here. I got my brand right here. I got my name down in the YouTube. Like people know who the heck I am. Because I'm just putting myself out there. Simply by just putting myself out there, people know who I am. I could not even be credible. I could not even do deals at all, but people would at least see my face and would associate me with real estate and they'd want to do something with me. They'd at least want to be my friends. Like you got to be putting yourself out there in some form or fashion or the other. So like where I started gaining a lot of my friends and stuff from in the beginning. And by the way, before I started doing this, I didn't gain any traction. Right? Like I didn't get any deals done for 7 months straight. When I first launched my business, I got no deals. And guess what I was doing for those 7 months? 7 months, this is what my day-to-day would look like. I'd wake up, I'd listen to Jerry Norton videos, and Max Maxwell videos. And then whatever I just learned, I would go take action. And I would just keep on doing that, keep on doing that, keep on doing that. Now, I learned a lot. However, I didn't get any deals. I actually had a couple contracts that I locked up. And they were deals. I looked back and now that I think about it, if I combined, I think there was like 2 really good deals in the beginning in those first 7 months that I locked up. I just didn't know what the heck to do with them after that. I didn't have community. I didn't have people that I was doing the business with. I didn't have somebody that could like run everything by. And ultimately, I missed out on probably about $30,000 in those two deals, right? Just because I simply did not know what the heck I was doing, and I didn't have people with me doing the business that I could, lean on. Okay, so for 7 months straight, I did no deals, and I had no people to do the business with. And then all of a sudden, month 7 hits, and I get into Pace Morby's community, and there's a bunch of other people doing the same exact thing that I'm doing every single day. Henry says, what is the date that we will be making calls? So in the Zoom, we're going to be making calls on the 7th, let's see, the 14th of March. So next week, I'm going to give y'all a treat. I will call the sellers, okay? I'm going to be calling sellers myself. I've done like hundreds of YouTube videos of me calling sellers, but I'm going to be in here calling sellers myself. So the week after that, which is the 14th, you guys will be calling sellers. But so here's the deal. For the first 7 months of my business, I didn't have anybody doing that I could do business with. Then I get into Pace Morby's community, and everybody in the community is doing the same exact thing that I'm doing. Okay. So I start getting in all the Zooms, just like the Zoom that you guys are in right now. I start getting in all the Zooms, but I wasn't just in the Zoom with my camera off, with it saying iPhone in here. I guarantee there's somebody in here that their thing just says iPhone. Nope, you guys got lucky. But like, I wasn't in here with my camera off with the thing with the name just saying iPhone. Like, I had my camera on. I was very present in the side chat. I was asking questions. Every opportunity that I got to like be highlighted some way, I tried to take the advantage of doing that. And then ultimately, it wasn't for me like just wanting attention or anything like that. It was for me wanting relationships with people. Right. So ultimately, all of a sudden, I start making a bunch of friends, and people start getting attracted to just who I am as a person, and we become friends, and we start doing business together, and we start, you know, going in the fire in the trenches together. And all of a sudden, in 3 weeks, I end up getting my first deal, and the rest is pretty much history from there. I've been doing real estate deals ever since. So it's so freaking important to just do the business with other people. It gets really boring doing it by yourself. Okay. Number 5. Okay. Number 5 is to record yourself. Okay. I'm going to be bringing up these football analogies. I'm going to keep bringing them up. If you guys did not know, I played football in college. I was not the greatest, but at least I made the college team. You know what I'm saying? In high school, I didn't even make the basketball team. Okay, I got cut from the basketball team. Ain't that some bull crap? But at least I made the college football team, right? I played a little bit. I was like the Swiss Army knife. I just went in there, and I played linebacker. I played all the special teams and stuff, and they used me as a rag doll. So I'm going to be making a lot of these football references, but it's very similar to football. Like, we would record everything in football. Not only would we record every single game, but we would record every single practice. We would record the drills that we were doing. And before practice, we would rewatch the film from the practice of the previous day. Right. And then we would, I would see myself acting a fool, or I would see myself doing a nice technique, and the coach would point it out, and we would just get better. Not only that, actually, I'm going to get into this next thing later on. But so I'm watching myself, right? I'm watching myself, and how I'm moving, and the coach is telling me, hey, you should do this, and it's just good to see what I'm doing, because at the end of the day, when I was playing football, like in real time, I didn't know exactly what it looked like. I knew what I had to be doing, right? But I didn't know like my hands, like how it looked like, how I was doing the thing. Okay. So when I got to watch film, I was like, dang, that looks nasty. I need to change that up. Or that looks really good. I need to triple down on that. Right. And it helps you get really better. Same thing with watching the game film. It's like you understand the schemes that you got to run and all that type of stuff. So it's very, very important to be recording yourself. So in seller calls, when I was in the beginning, every single day, I would be physically recording myself with an old iPhone, and me and my wife would sit in bed and we would watch, instead of watching Netflix, instead of watching YouTubes and all this stuff, we would literally watch my seller calls. And I would give myself feedback. She would give me feedback. But here's the deal. Here's why I recorded myself physically and not just on an app, right? Not just on a recording app. I could see my hands gestures. Remember, I was talking about in the beginning of the Zoom. Today, we were hanging out in the Silver Homes virtual office, and I see Brendan going like this, like with his hands. The homeboy's just like, he just into it, right? And I'm like, dang, I know homeboy's over there closing deals. I didn't even have to listen to the call. I'm being dead serious. I didn't even have to listen to the call. I just looked up at homeboy's screen and I'm like, yo, he's in the middle of closing a deal. I don't know what deal he's in the middle of closing, but I just know he's in the middle of closing the deal. We hop off of that Zoom. I just asked him like 30 minutes ago, hey, were you just locking up a deal? And he was like, yes. He was literally in the middle of negotiations because, I could just see it in his facial expressions and all that. And all that comes out in the call. So when we are looking at ourselves, when we're watching ourselves, we'll see how our expressions are coming out, and see how our voice inflections reflect that, right? So like when my eyes are like this and when I'm using my hands, all of a sudden I sound a little bit more interesting, right? And I noticed that while me and my wife were watching the calls. I'd be sitting here like this, like in my office, like, hey, so yeah, my name's Mike. I'm with, joehomebuyer.com. Are you looking to sell your and I'm looking at him like, yo, Mike, get some energy, bro. Like put some energy into that thing, man. Put some charisma into that thing. And ultimately, that helped me get really better because I recognized it. If I did not see that, I wouldn't have recognized it. Now, even to this day, I still do the same exact thing. I have a media team that does all of my, video editing and all that type of stuff. And before anything goes out on YouTube, right? I don't do this too much with Instagram and Shorts as much as I do YouTube. But the YouTube videos, I'll sit back and I'll watch the whole video before it's completely launched, right? Like I am like almost like the sales manager of the media team. I'm like the media team manager before it gets launched. I get to watch the video. So I'm literally watching myself, which is very cringe for a lot of people, right? A lot of people hate watching themselves. A lot of people hate, hearing their own voice and stuff. But it's very interesting to see um to see your facial expressions and stuff, because a lot of the times you don't realize it. You know how people have the resting bitch face, right? And they don't really know it. Like I have that. I legit do. I have the resting bitch face. Um and sometimes I won't know it. But however, when I'm looking at something like YouTube videos or a recording of me doing something, I see it and I'm like, oh, I got to change that. So intentionally, I start changing it in my videos and in my Zooms that I'm on. Like it all really, really matters. So we used to have the saying in football, the eye in the sky doesn't lie. Right. So as you're watching it and you're like, that is kind of cringe. It probably is. And it's something that you could work on and change. Okay. So the eye in the sky don't lie. And I would highly recommend recording yourself while you're doing things. Okay. And it also gives you an opportunity to post content, right? Like you guys should be documenting. You guys should be doing the thing. There was a video that I dropped about, 2.5 years ago that I put into another little YouTube video that we did a week ago. And it was just a cut from that video. And it just showed the progress, right? It just showed me, I was just like, hey, my name's Mike. I'm not a real estate guru. I'm just here to give you guys some value. And, I want to show you guys how we do real estate. It was just like, it was super cringe, but it was cool to see like the progression from 2 years ago to now, which is very, very cool. And Isaac, right? Like even just a year ago, we launched Blueprint. I'm gonna call it the original Blueprint 1.0. We launched Blueprint 1.0 about this time last year, okay? And I obviously did all the modules for it and everything like that, taught the 8-step sales process and all the sales training and all the modules through, just a regular video, just like we're doing here. And I then redid the modules for Blueprint 2.0. And Isaac was like, bro, the comparison between the old videos to now is like night and day. The charisma is completely different. Your confidence is completely different. The way that you are communicating is like, it's just like, it's night and day. It's completely different. And a lot of that came from watching myself do it, because I did the same exact thing. I went back and I watched some of those videos before I recorded these modules, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is cringe. I gotta change that up. I gotta make this thing more interesting, you know? So that's it's important to be watching yourself. Okay. And the sixth thing, as we wrap things up, be a student of the game. Okay. And this is kind of this could mean so many different things, but you should be obsessed with sales or whatever it is that you're doing. Right? Like obsessed to the point where I bring up Tom Brady again. Homeboy is a student. Like he would be watching every other quarterback's films, every other coach's feedback. Like he is a student. He is fully immersed into being the best quarterback that he could possibly be. So in his quote unquote downtime, he is learning. He's being a student. He's listening to things. He's watching things to just be fed, right? Like we become what we listen to. I heard it like this before. Whoever has your ear has your heart, right? So whatever that you're listening to, all these things on YouTube's or all your podcasts or whatever it is that you were listening to, ultimately they have your heart. So if you listen to all this is why I cut off like all the music that talked about cheating on women and all the secular music and all selling drugs and all that type of stuff. I cut it all out. And all of a sudden my life got better because literally who has your ear has your heart. And I truly, truly believe that. So when you're in the beginning of getting better at talking to sellers, if all you are doing, if you make your car a sales university, all of a sudden you are going to become the sales guy. If you make your car a integrator university somehow, some way, that's what you are going to become. So it's like you got to be listening to the right things. But here's what I want to give you guys. A lot of people, right? Actually, I want to talk about the things that I listened to in the beginning and that I still listen to this day. One of the main things, I am a very big learner when it comes to monkey see, monkey do. Right? Like I'm very, very good at that. That's like one of my superpowers. If I go see somebody do something, I'm gonna be like, all right, let me go do that. Tim, that makes a lot of sense. Like that's why you did a lot of the renovation in your property. I bet you were probably looking at YouTube videos on how to do some of the things, and you know what I'm saying? Like you can go see somebody do something and then go do it. I'm very, very big on that. So I would listen to every single one of Pace's calls and Jerry Norton's calls and Max Maxwell's calls. Like I'm listening to these guys and I'm like, But here's the thing. I was not just listening to their one-liners, right? I'm not just listening to the stories that they are saying or the way that they are giving an offer or like the specific words that they say when they're talking about condition. I wasn't doing that. I was listening to the things that they were saying and why they were saying them. So, and it's the second thing that is most important. So, for example, Pace is the best when it comes to third-party stories and like these analogies and stuff like that, right? Like he, you guys have if you guys follow Pace at all, you guys have probably heard his F-150 story about how he sold his F-150 on seller finance. And that's how he explains seller finance to a lot of people. And it just makes a lot of sense, right? And when I was listening to his calls and I'm listening to things like this, I wasn't thinking about, hey, I need to take that example and just go use it on all my calls. So whenever somebody asks, whoa, what does seller finance mean? I'm just gonna say the F-150 story. No, that's not it. Like I'm listening to when he's saying it, how he's saying it, why he's saying it, and I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna take notes and I'm gonna go make it my own. You see what I mean? But I think a lot of people, they'll just take words and specific one-liners and stuff for what it is, and then just go out and do it with no context on why they are doing the things. Okay. So like I was telling the wholesaler I was telling you guys about earlier, I was like, bro, in Blueprint, we have a vault of all my calls. Like go and listen to all of my calls. And while you were listening, think about the 8-step sales process. Think about all these different things that you need to get on the call and go listen to how I go get it. Don't just listen to the one-liners, because I could sit here and talk all day. I could sit here and like throw this, like you throw an objection at me, I got something for you. You throw this at me, I got something for you. Like I got these one-liners for days. I could be sitting here, overcoming objections for days just by like what I'm saying. But to really be a student is to really understand how I'm doing it and why I'm doing it. So when you're listening to things like other people's calls, which I think is very, very important, listen to why they're doing it. For a perfect example, this started actually the YouTube channel. This started making the YouTube channel go up a little bit. I started watching Mr. Beast's videos, not for entertainment, right? Not to be entertained by all the crazy stuff that he does, but I started looking at like the fine details and why he does the things that he does. Why is his intro like 30 seconds long? And in the intro, he's hinting at things that are going to come later on down the line, right? Like why is he doing all these things? And I'm starting to watch I'm starting to watch the way that he's structuring his videos, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know exactly why he gets so many views and how he hooks people in and why he has the thumbnail the way that he has it and why he has the title the way that he has it. And everything just started, yeah, Brendan, his views are freaking bananas. But everything just started to click, and I'm like, this is why. Like he's literally he's hacked the cheat code to YouTube, and he just understands it so well. And um that's why he's probably the most subscribed to person on YouTube. Right. But I was watching why he was doing the things that he was doing. So here's what I started to do. I started to implement. I got away from it because if you're on the YouTube channel right now, we're doing a series called Kingdom Closer. Okay. And this is just a sales training series on how to talk to motivated sellers, just a whole not even just wholesaling, but just sales in general and how to effectively communicate with people. We're on week 2. We just dropped a video last week. We're going on week 3 next week. Okay. We just talked about leads this week. So we're not really doing like Mr. Beast style videos from what I kind of have thought about from Mr. Beast in these in the series. It's more of just like a teaching type of series. But I started doing some videos where I was like, hey, let me try to structure what Mr. Beast would do in wholesaling. Right. And all of a sudden my views started going up. I can't make this up. Like I was like, all right, let me intentionally make the intro a certain way. And let me make sure that the video editor edits it a certain way to kind of imitate what Mr. Beast is doing. And then I went through it and I'm like, dang, these like now things are starting to shape out. The videos coming along, and we go launch it, and all of a sudden our views start going up. So it literally worked. But here's what I realized. I'm kind of going off on a tangent now, but like I don't think it's wise to what am I trying to say here? I don't think it's wise to I don't think it's wise to take from the integrity of what it is that you were trying, that what the message is that you were really trying to get out, right? And I'm not saying that I was taking the integrity out of it, but it's like, put it this way, if the goal is to get a specific message across, I think it's more important for you to be authentic in the message rather than focusing on the views, right? So if you're focusing on all the views that you were getting and how do I, create the perfect hook and the perfect message and the perfect call to action to make all the views go crazy. Yeah, it's important. We got to get views because at the end of the day, if people don't see your stuff, what's the point? But at the same time, it's like I found myself just on YouTube in general, I found myself um worrying more about the structure of the video itself rather than the content that I like and that I want to put out, right? Which was ultimately slowing me down. So I started being inconsistent. Instead of doing a video a week, I started getting a video maybe every other week. And, my video editor would be like, yo, what the heck? Do we have a video this week? And I'd be like, nah, I just haven't got around to like doing figuring out what it is that we got to shoot and getting the guy over here and all these things. So it's like, um, I just realized that having the least amount of friction when it comes to just you putting out the stuff that you want to put out, that's what's going to ultimately lead to one, authenticity, but two, consistency, if that makes sense. That's just my thoughts on that. That's why we transitioned into, this series that we're doing right now called Kingdom Closers, which has been pretty dope. So with that being said, your life should be consumed with sales and business. Like go back to my YouTube channel and listen to all my seller calls. I did back in the day, me, Felipe, and Karen, who was on my team, we would hop on a call for an hour and we did this thing called How to Wholesale. And I would just call their leads. I would just simply be like, all right, let's call their leads. And I would bang the phones for like an hour straight. And I did that for like, I think it was something crazy, like 50 episodes straight or something like that of me just calling sellers. So there's so much stuff on the YouTube channel. Just go back to the live videos, go back to some of the other videos, and you'll hear me talking to sellers. But go back, listen to some of my calls. If you're in Blueprint, open the vault, right? The vault has a bunch of seller calls of its own, of me like legitimately bringing people through the whole entire 8-step sales process, closing deals, getting contracts signed. It's pretty cool. And then sales books, podcast, sales training videos on YouTube's. If you are in some sort of mentorship, just get immersed into the modules that are in that mentorship that teach you the stuff. Like just get fully immersed into sales. Okay. And then here's the last thing that I'll say about this. This is just how my brain works. I like to kind of take things uh almost like a one at a time type of deal. Right? Like if you put too much on your plate at once, it's going to be hard for you to really go get better at that. So for perfect example, when I'm teaching my sales team, like for example, today I was telling you guys we're talking about giving an offer to that guy. That's what we really focused on. I wasn't super focused on a bunch of different things because at the end of the day, if you throw a bunch of different things at somebody, you're going to throw it at the wall and nothing's going to stick. Right. So it's like, I would highly suggest kind of focusing on one specific thing per day and just go out, listen to that thing and go take action and just keep on getting 1% better every single day. And that's what we're here to do. That is what we are here to do. Now, I want to open it up for a Q&A for the people that are in the Zoom. Gang, everybody in the Zoom, you can go down to the button. This can be a question about anything. It could be related to the sales training that we just did. It could be related to a deal that you got going on, whatever you need. Go down to the reaction button or go down to this raise hand button down at the bottom of the Zoom. Raise your hand and ask the question. Let's go. Brendan said in our group chat, in our sales group chat, new personal record for the longest initial call with a lead. What happened with that lead, bro?
We ended up having a lot in common. So that's why it lasted so long. Um, we were both in Lower Manhattan on 9/11. So like when that
Oh,
happens, you could like talk to someone all day. But that seller has an amazing story. He's 60. He was a Navy SEAL. He transferred to the Army. Now he's a cop in around Springfield. He's had a lot of travels, and he's had a lot of little investment properties. Smart guy. But his deployments have taken him away from his obligations with the rentals, and they ended up becoming a problem because he was not able to kind of babysit his investment properties.
Interesting.
And
Deployments meaning like he's in the army?
yeah, I mean, I didn't ask him any personal questions, but it sounds like he's got some top level security clearance, but whatever. He seems to have been sent all over the place. Um, and so it opened it up, and we talked more about the well, we talked about the subject property and the tenant in there, and I wanted to get a better understanding of what we were getting into if we were to buy the place and assume the eviction. And so he was just describing to me how the guy, it looks like he's not a cash for keys guy. He might dig in, and
Mm.
he's been sent his first 30-day letter, and then the attorney's going to be sending the second 14-day letter notice tomorrow.
Wait, this isn't the doctor, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
He's a doctor because when he's not in the army, he's a chiropractor. And he was a reservist for several years. Look, he's an ambitious guy, so he was like looking for something else.
So this is the guy that you gave an offer to for like 133.
Yeah.
Love it. Good job, bro.
Yeah, and then it was built. It was a good roller coaster ride up, as you said. I had to paint the picture, I had to build the case, I had to tell him about what sold around the corner. We talked about the condition, and it was great. It was great, but it looks promising.
Good stuff, brother. Good stuff. Good stuff. There's one more thing that I was gonna say about that too. I forget what it was. But yeah, good stuff, bro.
Yeah, you never know. It's crazy. You never know who you're going to be talking to. And I'm never disappointed listening to people's lives, whether it's a 90-year-old lady or a Navy SEAL. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's always
Mhm.
good. I really enjoy it.
Actually, thank you for saying that, because that is what I was going to say. Couple different reasons why Brendan has been doing really well on our team. First things first, he's been working his freaking balls off and just making the calls, right? Like at the end of the day, he's like hammering away, making 100 dials plus every single day. Second thing, we talked about this foundation, right? When you're in the beginning, you got to build your foundation of just having a conversation with people and being able to extract as much information from the deal as possible. So I want you guys to think about this. If you guys are just starting out and you guys just solely focus on asking the right questions and getting the information that you need to find somebody who has some sort of circumstance that somebody else can help out, that's all you need. Right? That's all Brendan has done for the past 6 months. Brendan has just simply gotten really, really good at asking the right questions and finding circumstances where people need help. And then every single day we have an hour sales meeting. And in that hour sales meeting, I'm able to say, hey, Brendan, good stuff, bro. We got a good lead here. Here's what you can go do to solve the problem. And here's how you go about it. And then he starts building that skill. But it started with like, being able to find the circumstance that where there's a problem to be solved, right? So that's the foundation of it. Now, here's one of the biggest things that is really, really good with Brendan. And this has probably led to at least half of your deals. Brendan's been in the hotel business for a while, right? So the hospitality business, and it shows in his calls. So he's like going over it and beyond to give good hospitality to these people. And Brendan, how many deals have you gotten? Like I would assume it's probably like half of your deals came from people calling you back.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
like legitimately, that's unheard of, bro. Half of Brendan's deals over the past year have been from people calling him back saying, hey, Brendan, we spoke like a month ago. I'm finally ready to sell. This was not the opposite. Usually it's the opposite. Usually it's us calling them, like pushing the ball forward with everything. But Brendan has done such a good job of hospitality that they've been calling him. So I wanted to point that out. That's important too. And that could take you a long way. So it's like, yeah, Tim, it's great rapport and it's tripling down on what you are good at and using that as a superpower, right? I actually freaking hate it. If I'm being honest with you, I hate, like, I am not about to get off the phone with a seller and text them, my name and say thank you for taking my call and all this type of stuff. I'm like on a go type of thing. Brendan's like, yo, wait, hold on. You got to give this guy a white glove service. You got to give him really good hospitality because that's what he does. And he's tripled down on that and it has helped him out. So in the beginning, when Brendan was like leaving voicemails a certain way and sending text messages, I was like, bro, you're wasting your freaking time. Until he was like, nah, bro, trust me. So he keeps on doing it. And all of a sudden he keeps on getting these deals from inbound calls. And I'm like, yo, Brendan's onto something. So I would say about 3 or 4 months ago, we started doing that with everybody. Like we started giving that good hospitality to people and things have been working out great. So good stuff. All right, gang. Anybody have anything else that they got questions on? Everybody that's in Blueprint, have your eyes peeled for some emails to get into the new software, and let's get the freaking Discord going. You got to take a couple steps. I think we should show them really quick.
You can show on the Discord, bro. Brendan, Tim, and Arelis, I've invited you. John, I think you got an invite as well. John Foster.
Gotcha. I'll join right now.
Let's go.
I'm
All right.
driving.
Well, don't join.
All right. Guys, this is what this looks like. This is pretty cool. Isaac's a freaking genius. I told Isaac today, I'm like, dude, I have the coolest partner ever. Okay. So this is what the Discord looks like. You guys aren't going to see this part just yet. When you first get in, you will see this, and you will have to do the rules that are in here. Do these things, right? You gotta go look at the rules. Okay, you're gonna look at the rules. Bada bing, bada boom. Come back to the welcome channel, and then you got to tag Isaac or myself. Provide us with your full name that you signed up, and we'll confirm your membership and assign you to your new role. Once you've been assigned your new role, you'll officially be part of the family, and then you will see all this type of stuff. The reason why we have to do a couple different things is because, some human beings just don't allow us to have nice things, right? Like some human beings just prevent us from having nice things. So they'll come in here and they'll spam us and they'll do all this type of stuff. So we gotta put a couple action steps so that we can filter out all the boneheads that try to get in here. And prevent us from having nice things. All right. All right, gang. If there ain't no questions, I will catch y'all next week and I'll be calling sellers. For those of you, by the way, I think there's like 5 or so people that are not in Blueprint. I'm telling you right now, go hit the dang link, drop the link, Isaac. hit the link, and actually I'll put this link on YouTube too. So if you're on YouTube, wait for this video to stop and I will put the link in the description. But $95 a month. That is absolute $95 a month is your gym membership that you do not use. Okay. Me and Isaac were going through all the modules and stuff. Everything is in there, like everything that you need to know to get better at talking to sellers, to comp properties, to dispo, to like to fix and flip, to do creative finance. I'm telling you, there's Isaac, what is there like? I think we saw 57 hours of just recorded Q&As and Zooms alone.
Yeah, that was like one that was like one of the replay courses actually.
So
So
I'm
there's
gonna say
win-win.
it's probably
Yeah.
between all the modules and all the recorded Zooms and all that type of stuff, it's hundreds of hours of content. But that's not the cool part about it. The cool part about it is you get access to Blueprint and all the members in Blueprint in the community. So I don't know what the heck y'all are doing if you're not hitting that link and signing up, but suit yourself.
Brendan, I sent a link to join the community, and then there's a link to Discord inside the community.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I did. Okay.
You should have a new login. You're gonna have to create a new password and stuff as well.
So you can tell that I have not joined Blueprint Discord. I forget.
I can. Yeah, I can see you're not in here yet.
Okay.
All righty, gang. Well, hey, I'm going to catch y'all on the next call next week. Again, 5 p.m. Thursdays. Next week, I will be talking to sellers. So if you're on YouTube right now and you are not in the room, I need you to go to joinblueprintrei.com so that you can get the notifications, so that you can get the text messages and the emails of when we are hosting these free Zooms. And we will catch y'all next week on Thursday. Peace.